in the United Front the other day, we were talking about the cookie jar. And this concept comes from David Goggins.
That's going to make me hungry.
I know. Okay, so the cookie jar. Okay? And what he talked about was interesting. And if there's a book I recommend, I do recommend the book Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Because most human beings stop at the 40% mark in where they're going.
Which is what we were doing, because everyone told us 40% was highly successful.
Right, yeah.
So we stopped.
Exactly. So the way to go beyond it is every human being has a cookie jar. And the cookie jar is everything you've ever done in your life. So, and I can tell you that having spent over 9 years in Australia, there's a thing called the tall poppy syndrome, where no one can talk about they've done anything good in the world, because then they stand out. Where in America, you can talk about how you've done incredible things in the world, but somehow in this country there's this tall poppy thing, and I think it really affects the incredible human beings that are actually here.
It comes from the prisoner, like psychology.
Yeah, it does. It does. And so then there's a saying we used to do in the room is we say, all right, everyone stand up, look around. If we all stand together, nobody stands out. So as we start to stand up for ourselves, what is important, especially for the Australians to potentially look at if they want to, is to look at your credibility, what you've actually done. Oftentimes what I find with many Australians is they struggle to share what they've done a good job in for fear of being standing out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to call it what I think it really affects them in their ability to bring their expertise to the world. So essentially what happens is the world misses out on these gifts.
Mm.
And so the cookie jar is something that you use in those moments when things get very, very challenging. So we all, as high performers, as people that are going after things in the world, it's normal to at times feel a little bit insecure. I remember I guess just the other day, I got an invitation. I usually am more comfortable speaking in front of live audiences, far more comfortable. And speaking to a camera, I feel uncomfortable, a little bit uncertain sometimes. Versus our live room, I can see the people, I can calibrate what's actually going on. With the camera, it's a little bit harder. And what I found was I got a phone call for a friend of mine that said, would you like to speak? There'll be over 1,000 people in South Africa on a virtual summit. I think there ended up being about 1,400. But my point was, I said yes because I'm okay with speaking to large audiences, 1,000 plus. But there was a part of me that felt unsure, a little bit scared, not sure if I wanted to do it or not, because I'm not as comfortable doing that. I'm not as comfortable speaking in virtual summits than I was on a stage. But I said yes anyway. And what came up for me was I was nervous, I was scared, but then I had to reach inside my cookie jar. And the cookie jar is, for me, worked with over 1 million people. I presented over 200 days a year some years. And so I started to actually, I've been on a lot of lives. I've done a lot of live camera work. I started to actually lodge all the things I've done in my life as part of my cookie jar. So in those moments of insecurities, those moments of doubt, it's normal. What's in your cookie jar? So what are all the things in your cookie jar? And in our United Front program, we had people list at least 5 items in their cookie jar. That when they felt those moments, they actually reached inside and they pulled out that credibility, that weight. And that's what we call unconscious weight. And wisdom, as to take it a step further, I'm going to say we all have a metaphysical cookie jar as well. Okay? Mm-hmm. So we have the physical cookie jar, which is what you've done in this life. But if you believe there's more going on than what we see, we only see 1/10 of a billionth of the light spectrum of this world. So there's an esoteric cookie. If you reach deep enough in your cookie jar, there's the 3D reality cookie jar, which is what you've done in this life, and there's the esoteric cookie jar, which could potentially be past lives.
And family lineage as well.
And family lineage and ancestors. So if you're ever doubting yourself, you got to then reach past the 3D cookie jar into the esoteric cookie jar and go to other lives, go to other ancestry, look at your family line. Like, we are affected by the generations and generations of ancestry as well. And so pull the weight of that as well, and that will be what's called wisdom. Now, if you just want to live in a world of logic, then that doesn't exist. But if you access imagination, then go further into your wisdom and discover what's actually there. So the
Beautiful.
cookie jar is also for this reality and esoteric as well.
Love it. So now it's time to be self-reflective. Pop in the comments where you feel you're at with your wisdom. It's the self-reflection part is essential. Every morning we self-reflect. We have a list. I'm going to tell a little secret.
Keep going.
We have a list of mentors on the wall, our invisible mentors. Well, they exist, but they're not. We don't actually work with them on this plane, but in the other quantum plane, we're clearly working with them.
Actually, some of them we actually do.
Some of them we actually have worked with and do work with, but there are some on there that we don't work with yet. And we ask ourselves, you know, what advice would this mentor give us today for where we're at, and what have we done from yesterday? So what have we actioned from when we asked this question yesterday, and what advice would they have for us today? And so we self-reflect, and we are able to use the mirror of accountability to really look at where we're at and to be truthful. And if one of us is blindsiding ourselves, then the other has full permission to be brutally honest. One of the reasons I like working with Jeff is he's honest with me. He doesn't blow me up when I'm not doing well. He'll tell me the truth, and vice versa. So your ability to do that for yourself and to cultivate that skill as an individual is directly proportional to the speed that you'll succeed in business and in life.
Make sure you hit the subscribe button on this page and check out some of the other videos I've got for you. I'd love to keep connecting with you. Take care.